The Blob Boys are back alongside number 32, Kenny Freese, and the birthday boy, Jason, aka Cap. He's 32. And here I am freezing, which happens at 32 degrees because I forgot to turn my heat on while I was out of town for a couple of days. But you know who's not freezing is basketball season because it's heating up. It's right around the corner. Musketeer Madness is this weekend, boys.
Whew, man. But are they
I'm
back
ex-
to calling it Musketeer Madness or?
Yeah,
that's a
no,
good question.
none of that Musketeer ripoff stuff
Tip
like
tip
last.
off was a one off,
Yeah, it's back to madness.
That's
and I
good
can
news.
tell we're back because tickets were much cheaper this year. I think I paid 50 at the door last year. This year it's only 35. My barcode looks really weird, but I'm excited. I got a good deal. I know a
They
guy.
all look like that. It's fine.
Okay, I know a guy.
You like this T-shirt? It was $35.
Oh, three wet.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we're back. We're gonna talk about basketball. Kenny, are you excited for basketball as a former basketball player?
Uh, yeah, I think I am. I think I am excited. I think there's you know, and I know that we're going to talk about it in a little bit, but I think with some of the news that has come out with Traore, I mean, obviously that's a huge blow to the team, but I think there's still so much to be excited about. We have so much offensive firepower. I think there's going to be a glaring hole that needs to be filled by the rest of the team because Traore was, I've never seen him play, but just listening to Coach Miller talk and just kind of hearing what his role on the team was going to be from different people around the organization, it sounds like it's going to be more of a they're going to have to make that up by committee rather than just having one guy that's going to be able to come in and do it. Because I think you have multiple different looks outside of it, where I think that he was going to be like their fastball, playing him at the 4-5 and Fremantle at the 4-5, kind of interchangeable and being able to guard out on the perimeter, do a lot of different things. Now you're going to really be picking one side or the other. You're either going to be playing small or you're going to be playing with Hughley, who's going to change the look of the team,
With who?
change how fast they play. What's that?
With who?
Oh, Hughley.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was good. You nailed it.
Hugh
Can I just say,
Lee.
Coop? I can tell that the field of 68 is strong in Kenny. Kenny just jumped right into it.
Yeah.
He's
And
like,
those-
"This is my sophomore season. I'm not a freshman anymore. Let's go."
Those
By the way, congrats on the field of
pronunciations, too.
68. I don't think we've
appreciate
talked
it.
about that publicly.
No, I mean we did a little bit on the Field of 68 thing that I did for the Xavier preview, but yeah, gonna be starting up with them real soon here. I think we got some previews coming up in the next couple weeks. If I'm not mistaken, I'm still waiting on a schedule for them, but it's gonna be a lot of fun.
It's gonna be a big year.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a lot of
Coop,
fun just from, because I feel like I have the Big East I have that kind of down, like that's my bread and butter, but kind of moving outside of that comfort zone and really understanding the full scope of basketball. Number one, it's going to make me, I think, I don't know, it's going to give me a better perspective on where Xavier actually stands, but I'm never going to be able to be like, I don't think Xavier's going to win this game. You know what I mean? Like, I'm never going to be able to do it. So if I'm doing a podcast with a Connecticut guy or a Marquette guy or whatever, I'm going to be like, no, we're going to beat you. Like, I don't want
It's
to
like
do
Xavier at
anything.
UConn.
Right. I don't
Yeah.
care. We're
Must
going
be
to
by
win.
20.
We're going to win. But no, I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Coop, imagine getting the invite to do literally what Sean Miller used to do and still re-upping with us.
Hey,
You can
Kenny's in
could be
mid-season
anywhere in
form
the world.
already. He's
Yeah.
got the Roll Blob hat on. I believe that's the Roll Blob hat. Yeah, it is. I know that
Beautiful.
hat. So for all our audio listeners, he's wearing the Roll Blob hat. I know you guys don't have one, but
Why don't they
It's
have
mounted
one?
the damn thing.
Yeah, we I think production, there was only like 5 produced. And
just four.
Four.
Guys,
And
I haven't proven myself yet. I haven't done it.
well, yours went to a good person to have one.
We should bring that up, actually.
Let's talk about that right now. Quincy L
Yes.
is very
Yeah.
big, tip of the cap, as we might say, Roll Blob cap to him.
Beautiful.
He's on the Lakers preseason team and had a pretty good summer league. Didn't get a ton of playing time, but then towards the end really made it count and got the opportunity to play in the preseason. Scored 11 points a few games ago. So whether it leads to a spot with the Lakers or somewhere else, still his name's out there. People know about him, and I mean huge accomplishment regardless.
Dude,
Yeah.
his stock has risen like crazy.
Well, and he's doing it the
I'll
right
be
way.
the first to admit, I was like, I don't think he's an NBA player, guys. Like,
Yeah.
but Quincy's just one of those dudes who just grows into whatever environment he's in. But you have to respect that. That's incredible for him. That's
Well,
amazing.
and I think that he's doing it the right way, right? He's not going out there and saying, I'm going to try and get up 15 threes in this game to make this team realize that I'm here, let the league know that I'm here, anything. You heard it in the interviews that he did and in the interview that JJ Redick did about him. It's all about that, like, buying in, giving it everything you have, picking up, creating turnovers, being that locker room guy. And I think it may be a shock to people out in LA, but our core group of guys that watched Quincy play all year last year, he is like the ultimate locker room guy. He's the ultimate bring your team up guy. I'm really excited to see what he can do. You know, whether he ends up with an NBA contract or not, like fully on a team, it remains to be seen. But I think that he's doing it the right way, and he's putting himself in a good position to make it happen.
No question. That was incredible. Friend of the podcast, Quincy Olivera. People
Yes.
forget. But
Yeah.
I'm excited to be back. I do just want to thank everyone for listening and for being here. We're back for this is my 4th season of the role Blob. Kenny's back. I mean, we're excited. Live streams. Just thanks for being here, by the way, guys. And we're excited to be back. But let's get back into basketball. So obviously, I think the big question is where do we go from here, right? Kenny talked about a committee. And I think for me, my first thought was what position's Fremantle playing? And I know we had that question in the mailbag, but what do you guys see as the rotation in the 4-5 area?
I think that it's just gonna be really interesting because I think that you may end up getting into this, like, I don't want to say positionless basketball because that's not the case, but it's just there's going to be 2 different looks where they're playing 4 guards with Swain being one of the guards, and honestly, everything that we've seen, all of the weight that he's put on, I've said it before and I'm going to continue to say it until I'm proven wrong. He looks like an NBA lottery pick. So when you look at this guy and you see the amount of athletic ability he already had, and now he's got another year. I mean, he was 18 last year.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a full year. That jump between 18 and 19, most people that's your senior year in high school to your freshman year in college, and he's doing that in his freshman and sophomore year in college. That's a big change.
Yeah.
Another full year with the strength coach, another full year with Miller, another full year with all of their player development guys. I'm really excited to see what he does next year. But, you know, the other person that I'm really excited to see is Hughley, because I think that he's going to give a whole different feel. Like, you know, you're going up against UConn, and they have these great big guys. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that I don't think that Hughley is, like, you know, a Big East player of the year like some of the UConn guys could be, but I do think that he gives that size and toughness inside that we were lacking last year.
Yeah. And then, I mean, Travis Steele used to use this quote where you have a lot of bullets in the chamber. And you look at this roster and all that they added. I think this is obviously a super deep roster. I mean, we've talked about this before where even like a Trey Green, for example, returning. It's like, there's at least 10, 11 guys that could play legit Big East minutes on this roster. So you have a deep roster. You think about Jerome Hunter when he gets back in the fold. He gives you a lot of versatility. He's a tough inside presence as well. Not an ideal 5, but a really good rebounder at the 4. You know, I think you could play him and Fremantle at the 4-5 and feel pretty decent with that lineup. So I think there's a lot of versatility on the roster. Like a Marcus Foster, for example, becomes a lot more valuable. A guy that can rebound very, very well. Toughness on the wing. So you look at Dalen Swain, like he just became way more valuable with that body. I mean, he is a rare player. Does Fletcher get healthy enough to play this season? So there's a lot of unanswered questions, but this is a roster that you look at with a lot of versatility, a lot of weapons in the chamber.
Yeah, for sure. And you kind of hit the nail on the head there too. There's a lot of unknowns about some of these guys, right? Coming into this year, everybody's talking about Maddox. Everybody's talking about Conwell. Obviously, you know, Davion McKnight at the point. Like, everybody knows that those guys are going to be high performers. And then, obviously, Fremantle, Xavier fans have watched what he can do for a long time. Jerome Hunter, just the heart and soul of the team. And then we heard a lot about Fletcher. Traore. We heard a lot about Traore. And obviously that, like I said, that's a big hit to the team. But there's just so many unknowns. Like Marcus Foster, dude, like, I'm talking to Adam Baum, and he's like, he shot 40% from 3 2 years ago. He didn't have a great year last year, and I think everybody knows that, and he's even talked about it, I think, a little bit in the media. But, does he go back to that where he's knocking down 4 out of 10 threes, which is just an absurd clip? I'm really excited to see it and how Coach Miller puts that all together.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it's, I mean, the roster's going to work itself out as the season progresses because, like, right now, the initial, like, fear with Traore's injury is going to be, like, the front court rebounding because last year, that was the biggest weakness of the whole team was the inability to rebound. And, of course, Fremantle wasn't there, Hunter wasn't there. You just kinda had to work with what you had with all due respect to them. But I feel like over the course of the year, guys are going to find where they need to be and we'll find out what matchups work with what teams and everything like that. So,
Well,
I
and I
mean,
think you have to almost count on Fremantle being a double-double guy, like averaging a
you do.
double-double.
Yeah.
And then Kenny, I don't know if you can maybe give some insight on a team maybe you played on where a big player got injured. I don't know if you can remember that, but you've got to imagine that behind closed doors, Sean Miller's pulling John Hughley in his office like, hey, man, like your job is now huge. Like you
Yeah.
are going to be counted on big time.
It's in his last name. It's huge.
It's huge.
And people forget he was an all honorable mention, all ACC player at Pitt. I mean,
Yeah.
dude can play.
Yeah,
and he's
he
lost
can.
major weight, versatile. So, that you got to believe that the coaching staff is
Dude,
on.
these pictures that they're putting out of the transformations from the beginning of preseason or the beginning of summer, whatever it was, till after preseason, like these boys have been putting in some work, man, and they look good.
Our boy Andy.
Yeah, right. Dude, that guy. Oh my gosh,
Dude's a monster.
he really is.
Dude,
But
he
I mean,
terrifies me.
Hughley in particular, though. I mean, Dalen Swain made these huge jumps gaining weight, right? He made that transformation. But man, from what it looks like to me, it looks like Hughley lost 40 pounds. Like he looks good, and I'm excited to. I really think that he's going to come out and be even more of a high motor guy than people are expecting him to be. I think that he's going to come out and play well.
I can only imagine that when we go to the Cintas for the first time, there's going to be fans coming up with like those fake mustaches and trying to get like a Fenny Crease, to just to see what he's got in the tank, a little transfer action.
Yeah, I wish.
Unknown guy, but we'll see.
Yeah.
A lot of potential there.
Yeah, looks a little. Yeah, whatever. No, but I go a lot of ways with that. But anyway, it's going to be. It just goes to show you, though, with Coach Miller, the pedigree that he has as a college basketball coach, there's a lot of positivity even outside of the Xavier community at this point for this team. And when you go from having your worst season in 30 years, 10 players transfer out, you rebuild a whole nother team, and then you have people that are legitimately saying, Xavier could be a preseason top 25 team. And if they're not, they're going to be a preseason top 30 team. That turnaround from last season to this season is like unheard of. And obviously it's not possible without the NIL era, and the transfer portal and all that. But players want to play for Miller because he's a player's coach, and they love the energy that he brings and all of that.
Can we talk about that real quick? How fun is it as a Xavier fan to have a season like that and then just turn around and boom, preseason top 20? And I think that's huge because you look at where Xavier was, right? Like we were really good under Chris Mack. In my opinion, the best 4-year stretch in Xavier history. Then we have Travis Steele, 4 years in a row of no tournament. Then you go to the Sweet 16, and Kenny, I heard you guys talking about this, in a season we weren't really expecting, for a Sweet 16 run. I mean, we're expecting a tournament team, but hey, Xavier had been in the tournament in 4 years. And now it's like, hey, expectations are there. And I'm interested to hear what you guys think as far as like a ceiling is concerned, because this team has real expectations, real top 20 expectations. I mean, I don't want to be, the Xavier fanboy, blue glasses, whatever, but this could be a top 15 kind of team. Maybe even a little high. I mean, this could be a really good team. It's a big year for Xavier. I mean, obviously, like you said, the worst year in 30 years. Sean is not at a point in his career he wants to play around. Every season has to be a really good season for Sean, I feel like. So it's interesting to see the outlook overall and kind of where Xavier fans are. I'm interested to see kind of that overall vibe.
Yeah, and that's actually one of our mailbag questions. We'll just answer this one now. This one's from Blob Bois, asking what the ceiling and floor is for this team. But I think, I don't know what the floor is. I haven't put really any thought into that. But the ceiling for sure, I think, is second place in the Big East, truthfully. I think UConn, until proven otherwise, is going to be the top dog, and maybe not just the Big East, but college basketball.
Going for a three-peat is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they're the Georgia of basketball.
What an insane story, by the way. And then, but I'm interested here. I think floor, though, I think this is a team that maybe doesn't have like a top 5 ceiling, but I feel like the floor is pretty high too. Like, it's hard to imagine this team with a proven Davion McKnight, bringing Zach Freemantle, Jerome Hunter back, like all these transfers. I mean, Ryan Condell was one of the most sought after transfers. Like, it's hard to see us not being top 40.
Like, basement floor is a bubble team, maybe.
Yeah, they say the ceiling is the roof. I feel like the floor is the ground. You know, it's just like not. It's like, I don't feel like this is not going to be a tournament team.
I think the big thing for me when I look at this team and really any other team when I'm trying to decide how good I think they're going to be is, do they have multiple ways to beat you? Last year, Xavier was only going to beat you one way, and that was going to be Quincy scoring 30 points or getting some like big time production out of Dez or whatever. You know, like that's, I don't know. That to me, that's just like Xavier was very one-dimensional. They weren't like a super great defensive team. They didn't rebound well. I mean, it was like there was so many things about the team last year that showed that there were weaknesses, and they were blaring throughout the whole year. But I think this year, the rebounding is going to be a thing. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I just want to see it actually. I want to be proven that I'm right, that they are going to be a good rebounding team, because I think they will be. They have good size at the guards. They have good size at the bigs. Yeah. I think they're going to be fine. But Xavier is going to be able to beat you inside out this year or outside in. They're going to be so good. If you have 3 legitimate threats from the three-point line at all times on the court, there's probably 6 people that you have to guard from 30 feet and in. Like, they're going to be really good from the three-point line. So if Zach's playing well and he's drawing double teams and all this stuff, and he's able to pass out of those double teams, and then you think about the fact that when you're doubled, you pass the ball out, you shoot the ball, that's an extremely difficult position for the defense to be in rebounding, because they're rotating and doing all this stuff, trying to find the guy they're going to block out. So that's another reason that I think that they could be a good offensive rebounding team as well. But I think that there's just so many different ways that Xavier's going to be able to beat you that they're going to cause problems for certain teams. And I don't think that the ceiling for this team is number 2 in the Big East. I think the ceiling for this team would be to win the Big East, because I think that there's honestly so many things that they're able to do well. I'm not saying they're going to. Like Coop said, you have to take down the champs before anybody's going to say that there's another champ, right? You have to be able to.
I already tweeted it off the Roll Blob account. Should I delete it?
Yeah.
Kenny said we're going to win the Big East.
No,
okay.
but that's what I'm saying though. It's like you got to be able to take them down, and I would be, if I'm making predictions right now, I would say that UConn's going to win the Big East. But I don't think that it's outside the realm of possibility for Xavier to take them down at home and play well against the other teams in the Big East, lose to them at their place, and maybe end up with a better record. I don't know. But it's just, I really think that because of how many weapons that Xavier has, and I think that they're going to be better defensively because they're bigger. I mean, I don't know, man. I really am just excited to see them actually get out on the court and see what they do together.
And that's the thing with these groups where you're bringing so many transfers. So I was going to say this season hinges on 2 things. One, can we build chemistry quick enough? Because we're adding a lot of new pieces, and a lot of our most teams with transfers, it's like your auxiliary pieces or transfers are big piece. Like Conwell's a huge piece. Like Maddox is a huge piece. So can this team build chemistry quick enough, especially to avoid tough losses in the non-con? And then 2,
just real quick, one thing on that. I think that one thing that's kind of being overlooked in that, because I hear a lot of people saying that, not just about Xavier, but just about all these teams that have new transfers coming in. I think that guys are just getting better at like melding into situations because they're just used to it now. They're used to having new guys come in, new guys leave, and I think that there's just a lot more. It's just normal now. I don't think it's as big of a deal as it used to be.
That's fair, but no 2 teams are the same. Like, no 2 locker rooms are the same. Right. So who knows how this individual group meshes. And it seems good, but we'll see. And then 2, I'm interested to see who's the guy. You know what I mean? Because will this be a spray and pray type of offense where everyone's kind of sharing the ball individually, or does like a Ryan Conwell kind of become the guy? So I'm interested to see role definement because we've seen really good teams in the past. Coop, you remember the Ed Sumner, Trayvon Blewett team?
Yep.
Ultra talented team, but they couldn't figure out, is it Ed's team? Is it Trey's team? Who takes the shot in big situations? So, and Zach's obviously a big scorer. So where does the ball stick? Does it? So I'm interested to see role definement, who steps in to be the guy. You know what I mean? So I think that's going to be an interesting piece as well.
Let me just put this out there as just like a different point of view. When you look at like the top leagues or the top teams in Europe, and you look at points per game, rebounds per game, assists per game, minutes played, all that stuff, you're going to see 7 guys, 8 guys that are playing 25 minutes a game, and they're all averaging 11 points. Like maybe one's averaging 15, one's averaging 10, but those teams that are able to do that. I mean, obviously, if you have like a just absolute juggernaut on offense that can get you 35 every game, feed them the rock. But yeah. I think and that's another reason why I say they can beat you in a lot of different ways. I think that Maddox can go for 30. I think Conwell can go for 30. I think Davion can give you, 20 and 10 assists. I think that Fremantle can probably give you 25 and 10 rebounds. I need to see what Hughley does the first time he gets the ball in the post. I want to see what his presence is like.
But like, you're going to be eating him alive on the live streams.
Well, no, but the thing is that when you have size like that and you have a lot of shooters around you, if you're able to score one-on-one, he's going to have games where he's got a mismatch because he's just bigger. So if he's able to do that as well, then what I'm really hoping for this team is that you have 4 or 5 guys that are averaging between 10 and 20 points. If that's the case, then Xavier's going to be really, really good.
I agree. The last thing I will say, I think there's going to be a correlation between the amount of times that Cintas Brass gives us courtside seats and how many wins we have. So if I was Twitter, I would be bugging the Xavier guys, hey, let's give these Blob Boys more courtside seats because they did well when we had courtside seats.
Right. That's true.
Yeah, that's very true.
And it's not selfish. It's not for me. No, right. It's for them.
All for one for all. Whatever.
I mean, one of the most memorable moments last year was Swain's dunk on Georgetown. Where were we?
The almost Friday picture of Kenny being hyped after that.
Yeah.
We need more moments like that.
Right.
Speaking of that moment, go ahead, Cap, if you want to finish your thought there.
No, go ahead. This is off topic.
Okay, gotcha. So that was after the Swain dunk, and I want to go into this next question because I already know the answer to it. I want to go around the horn here like a steering wheel. Kenny, who are you looking forward to returning player-wise the most?
Come on.
I mean, I've already said his name like 15 times. I mean, we've been talking for 20 minutes, and I've talked about Dalen Swain like 7 times.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face. The dude, if he put the work in on the court that he did off the court, he's going to have an insane year. And when I say an insane year, I'm not saying he's going to go out and score 20 points a game. But I think that you're going to see games where he has 12 rebounds, and maybe he only scores 7 or 8 points. But I think that you're going to see him affect the games in a lot of ways. So for me, he's the most exciting person. The offensive firepower is there. He needs to find his niche, find a way to make himself and put himself in a position to make the team better. And if he's able to do that, he's going to find himself a lot of minutes this year.
Yeah, a lot of minutes and a lot of money in the future. Cap, who are you looking forward to returning?
I'm going to cheat and do a 1A, 1B because I do what I want. It's my birthday. I'm going to say number 1, Davion McKnight. I think Davion McKnight could have one of the most just like efficient point guard seasons. I don't see how Sean Miller ever takes him off the floor other than like for a 1-minute swiggle. Like he will be on the floor all the time. I think he's going to be so efficient. All the weapons he has around him. I just can't wait to see how good he is this season. I thought he was awesome last year. You give him a whole other year, he's going to be fantastic. Second, I think the big wild card on this roster is Trey Green.
Yeah.
I think Trey Green's a huge wild card. I think he's the best shooter on the roster. Best pure shooter on the roster. I watched him against the alumni. And if you didn't know anything about Xavier basketball and you watched that first half, you'd be like, that's the best player on the roster. Hands down. Really? He was playing like he was that dude. Like, getting the ball, like, no hesitation. Like, remember that game he had against Providence? He had, like, 15 in the first half last year, or whatever the case was. Mm-hmm. Like, I think he could be a huge wild card, man. If he can get hot and spread the floor, So those are the ones I'm looking forward to the most, I'd say.
Yeah, he always has the green light, as you might say. And
You know,
speaking of that scrimmage, it was obviously Zip 'em Up versus the Xavier men's basketball team. Um, and Cap and I were on the Zip 'em Up sideline, so we weren't too engaged on what Xavier was doing that night. But
I
one
was.
thing, well,
It was
one
hard to root
thing
for either team.
one thing that stood out the most out of anything was Sean Miller's intensity during that game or during that scrimmage. It doesn't mean anything. It's literally just a practice against guys that used to play there. But you would think that it was like a January game at Seton Hall the way he was screaming his head off.
He was
And
like full. You know how you can hear him on TV like screeching? It was like that full Sean Miller screech was in like mid-season form.
yeah, and there's a total of 100 people in that gym, maybe, and he's just you can hear everything, and he's just unfazed by all of that. Like the intensity was the same, and what I'm excited for, and the reason I bring that up is we won't really get to see the team and what they can do to their full potential for Musketeer Madness during that scrimmage, but on Sunday, Xavier plays a scrimmage at the University of Dayton, and that's a sold out crowd. And I mean, that's still
Nuts.
locally a rivalry. I don't know how the players on either side feel about it or even know about it,
Right.
but we all know about it, especially Kenny.
Miller knows
and
about it.
Sean Miller
That will
definitely
be an
knows about
environment,
it.
dudes. That will be an
Dante,
environment.
Dante knows about it.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
that will be an environment.
I think it's going to be a real glimpse of how the team's going to be. I think Sean's going to coach like he did that scrimmage
Mhm.
against Zip 'em Up. Like I think we'll get a real feel of, what guys can do what during
Well,
that during that game.
I think that I don't think that Miller's seat will ever be hot at Xavier. I think that as long as he wants to stay there, he's going to have a job, right?
I agree.
But I think that for him personally, I have to imagine, just because I know how competitive he is, that there's a lot riding on this season for him, because that's got to be the worst season last year has got to be his worst season ever. I mean, I think maybe somebody said he had a season at Arizona that wasn't great, but I mean, he was a part of Xavier like making its ascension to a top 25 basketball school. So like he was a part of that whole thing, and now he comes back to Xavier and has that season in a place where they're in an even better spot than when he left. They're playing in the Big East. The crowd is always crazy, even when we have a down year and people complained about it, whatever, but the crowd was still good. There's a lot that he wants to win for. He wants people to be excited about Xavier basketball again. And if you have another bad year for some reason, like, it's not crazy for programs like Xavier, who were, quote unquote mid majors back in the day, 3 or 4 bad years in a row. And Xavier would have been there if Miller doesn't come back and reinvigorate all this, because who knows who replaces Steele, because everybody knew Steele was gone. So who knows who's going to bring that back and who's going to bring that life back into the program. And Miller, in my opinion, probably saved them 4 or 5 years of really struggling to get back to where they were.
Yeah.
And then to come in and go to a Sweet 16, it's just like that was such a wild thing.
Oh, that was nuts. Insane, especially after such a starving fan base. And can I say, too, how many teams in mid-late October are going to be playing in an environment like that? Like, this is honestly going to be like a wake-up call, I think, for them. And I love early season tests. You look at the shootout, which was kind of something I wanted to talk about. You look at the shootout, and I feel like that's been Xavier's advantage, is we play hard games before the shootout, and UC doesn't. And that, I feel like, always gives us an advantage. And you talk about a hard environment. This is as hard environment you're going to get on October 18th, whatever it's going to be. Yeah. Like, at Dayton, sold-out crowd, a fan base that absolutely despises us. And how Dayton is that of them to sell that thing out for a freaking preseason game? I mean, it's going to be – and as much as I hate Dayton, I kind of see them as, like, the Browns. Like, I respect the fan base because, like, your team sucks and you constantly show up. My question is, Kenny, you would know more about this than I would. What kind of man is Sean Miller? Is he the kind of guy that will be wearing like a Big East, like huge imprinted shirt, like huge Big East logo to flex on him, or is he going to be low key running man?
No, I think he's going to wear his quarter zip running man. If I had to guess,
either
that or he'll just wear a T-shirt or something.
My dad is trying to bring in a Jimmy Carter fathead. Actually, shout out to Jimmy Carter, last great dad, by the way,
last
who
dad.
just turned 100 years old.
Yeah.
And people forget
Nope.
that Dayton does not beat Xavier.
And
Xavier's in the
he's
Jimmy
not allowed
Carter
to play with
ministry.
Legos anymore. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
It's tough.
That's ridiculous. Let the man play with Legos. Come on.
No, but yeah, Dayton is Dayton was a much
special.
harder environment. To me, Dayton was a much harder environment than Cincinnati, because
Wow.
That's crazy.
I mean Cincinnati was like, I don't know, maybe I'm remembering this wrong, because the games are just wars, right? And it's more about like not liking the players, not liking each other. Dayton, it's like they're kind of off in the distance, you know, and like you know the players, you know it's a big game, but the fans are just rabid, like in a good way, but like they're right on top of you. And I can remember standing out there before a tip, and they're swinging their towels, and you can actually feel the air from those towels. Like
No kidding.
it's a tough place to play, and they're right on top of you. So it's going to be, I have to imagine that Miller's going to be really fired up, and he's going to get the guys fired up. And I would assume that he's going to go into some of the history with the new guys, because they obviously have no idea. Most of these kids were in 6th grade the last time it was a big game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun. I wish I could go to that. That would be a lot of fun.
I wonder if that's why they're called the Flyers, because like the wind, like being able to feel the wind. But
Yeah.
oh no, it'll be interesting. I'm 50-50 if I'm going or not.
I wish that
So,
they would. I
we'll
wish
see.
that it would be on TV.
I think there is a way to watch it. I don't remember.
Is there?
Yeah.
Well, let's look that up real quick.
Yeah, we got to find a way to do that. Kenny, while you look that up, I was going to talk shootout, if that's okay.
Yeah, do that. And maybe
Do it.
a national media guy can tell us why the hell UC is ranked in the AP poll.
Now, this is so I was talking about this, I think, with you, Cube. What a year for the shootout, because if there was ever a year UC needs to win,
Yeah.
it's this year.
Right.
You're ranked. Like, Wes Miller's seat is getting hot. It's at UC. Xavier's won. Have we won 5 in a row or 4 in a row? 4?
Seems
Feels like 5.
Like
Xavier's won as many as they have in a row, which is crazy in the modern era. Like, bro, if we get this shootout, I am going to be a dangerous, dangerous man on social media.
well,
dangerous.
you have an ESPN Plus account. Otherwise, you might not even know what's going on.
Okay. Yeah, that's just wow. UC, I mean, how far have you fallen off to it? Like, come on, this is ridiculous. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? But this is gonna be a big shootout, man. I mean, if UC doesn't win this one, I mean,
to lose
Ooh.
6 in a row. I mean, come on. I mean,
this
I
is the
hope
one
they do.
they have to have. Like, I don't. How much do you think Wes Miller's leash is at this point? How much time does he have left?
I mean, I don't know. Apparently, like the national media, I must feel pretty good about it with them being ranked.
He's got to make a tournament, dude.
But and then you put it like they're in the Big 12, so then like does that make the expectations lower and like he can get away with worse seasons because
Right.
he's playing tougher teams? I don't know.
But this is a big shootout, and especially with UC being ranked. I mean, I feel like this is the first shootout with real juice in a while. Like, both teams are projected to be good.
Yeah,
Do you
true.
guys-
I
Not to get away from the crosstown shootout, because I'm trying to look this up. Do you guys know what time it's at? Because all I'm seeing on here is October 20th. I don't see a time.
Papa Cap would know. He's going. Oh,
Oh, it
good
says
question.
game time will be announced at a later date. This was an article from July, though.
Not ideal.
Oh no, it looks like you can watch it on ESPN Plus
Hey, same as the shootout.
Sunday
cool.
at 5 p.m.
The shootout and an exhibition
Yeah.
game versus Dayton being streamed the same way.
Yeah. Well, man, what are you guys doing that day?
I mean, I think I know what I'm doing now.
Dude, if you
Well-
make the trip down to Dayton, I'll be there.
No, I can't make the trip down to Dayton.
I
Because,
think Kenny is. I think what Kenny's hinting at is some stream possibly.
Yeah, possibly.
Oh,
I need to figure out what's going on, because arguably
That
an
could-
even bigger game on Sunday is the Vikings versus the Lions.
why?
I think you know why.
Are the Vikings any good?
That
You wanna take a
remains
victory lap real
to be
quick?
seen.
Huh.
I mean, you got the Viking purple going on there, Coop.
That's true.
Yeah, I gotta support Sam Darnold. You
Yeah.
know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
You
his
do.
last game of his college career, he got just spanked by Ohio State. So I like to
I
see
mean,
a guy like that succeed.
Well,
I
I
would
can tell
just
you for
love to see.
100% sure I'll be watching that game. I don't know if we're going to be streaming, but I'll be watching that game.
Say less, Kenny. I'm here for it. I would just love to see Coop just like full Kenny like dream season. Like Vikings are like 12-1. Xavier's like number 7 in the country. Like
Hmm.
this could be a hell of a year, especially for we took our lumps last year. We paid our dues. Let's have one hell of a season.
Right.
And I would. Hey, the last thing I'll say about the shootout, Kenny, shootout stream.
Oh, no.
Be
We're
there.
not done talking about the shootout. The shootout is, I mean, that's another thing. It's very reminiscent of what we were talking about with the Dayton game. He's going to have to explain to a lot of these guys what it means.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like they have the videos, the hype up videos, all that stuff. But I mean, Cincinnati has guys that have lost. I mean, what? I mean, we've won 5 in a row. How many of those guys have lost 3 or 4 in a row?
Could you imagine?
And we're coming back with 10 guys that have never played in one. So
Now, I don't know if I'm reading my notes correctly, but if my notes are right, this is Zach Freemantle's 14th shootout.
That's
So
correct.
there is one guy you don't have to explain it to.
right, yeah, he's. What is
I mean,
that?
I think
What
this
is
could
that thing
legit
from?
be the 6th time that he's been on a roster.
Yeah.
Hey, he's technically won 5 shootouts.
Right.
He could win 6 shootouts
Yeah,
as a college basketball player. Technically, be on the roster for 6 shootouts.
I mean, that's more than most coaches. I mean,
that is
wild.
insane.
it reminds me of the was it Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe when it's like, don't quote the ancient scripts to me. I was there when they were written.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you get 4 years of eligibility.
Yeah.
He might win 6 shootouts. And I don't know how many Huggins won, but he might be in that territory. He might have more than Mick Cronin. And you're
I
a
don't
player
know.
with one player's eligibility could beat Mick Cronin, who was there for, I think, 13 seasons.
I mean,
And I just want to
yeah,
take an
we-
opportunity to talk about Mick Cronin because I miss him.
Yeah, we all do. I mean,
miss him.
that would be big time. That would be big.
I would love to see a picture with Kenny and Mick Cronin. That could probably happen with the field of 68.
Yeah, they might send you on an assignment out to.
You think, they're
Los
gonna.
Angeles.
You think I'm gonna do it in the van? Remember that picture? Remember that picture of
No,
Mick Cronin
I do.
sitting between the two guys in the van?
Barstool, I think he was,
Oh.
Big Cat. No, that was so funny. And he went out of his way. The first thing they said, I'll always talk about this whenever I can. What he was excited about for going to UCLA, he said, never going back to Cintas. The first thing he said. He hated it in there, dude.
Well, I
Hated
mean, I'm
it.
sure that he did. He couldn't figure out how to
dude.
win.
Not to toot my horn here, but my video I made of Mick Cronin's proper send-off is amazing.
I'll have to revisit that. I
It's,
think I
it's
need.
3 minutes long because there's that much good content.
I need
Yeah,
to
I'll
look
have to revisit that one.
Well,
need-
Kenny was a part of the game where Mick Cronin talked about how UC trading Benadryl was more important than the crosstown shootout. After a loss, of course.
Yeah, that's an all-timer quote. We could have a whole other podcast episode about
don't
like,
even get me started on Mick Cronin. I just miss him.
Croниnisms or whatever.
It's not the same with Wes Miller. But no,
No.
big shootout though. And I think Kenny and I don't know if you remember in semi-pro, the Flint Michigan Mega Bowl. It's gonna rival the Flint Michigan Mega Bowl. And that's saying something.
What'd I say?
Mega Bowl.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of coaches, how do we feel about Rick Pitino going to Big Blue Madness? Have you guys seen this? Like,
That's
Dude,
insane.
he's doing his thing at St. John's, and then like you have Pope come in taking over UK, and like Rick Pitino's there. Like it, I don't know. To me, that's like I don't know, like your like girlfriend's hanging out with her ex or whatever. It's like, oh yeah,
At his house.
yeah,
Or her house.
we hang out, whatever. Like,
Yeah, like would love that information if I'm being real with you. And Coop, you actually talked about this before we jumped on. Like, isn't it weird that a program like UK is just promoting an assistant? Like, don't you think you're going out and getting whoever you want?
yeah. I mean, well, he was the head coach at BYU.
And
But I mean,
he was the head coach at a school where you're not allowed to have coitus.
So just a quick update.
Shouts to Brand Davies.
Mick Cronin was at Cincinnati from 2006 to 2019.
Nailed it. 13 years.
Right.
wow.
And
Yeah.
in that time, they won in 2006, 2010, 2012, 2016, and 2018.
5. So Fremantle's
Well,
already
for-
matched that.
Fremantle could win more shootouts as one college player's eligibility.
Someone make the
That would
graphic.
be insane. Insane.
Wow.
Ooh,
Wow.
I'm here for it. Oh yeah.
That's a stat.
That is a stat.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think that's pretty much all our talking points. But we do have a mailbag, unless you guys have any further comments about basketball, just life in
Yeah.
general.
I mean, if
anything.
you guys don't want to talk about the Vikings, then I think we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
No,
I don't
it's not
even
baseball.
want to talk about football. I'm over it already. I'm ready for basketball, man.
Yeah, right.
I mean, shit, we've got like I don't know 3 weeks till tip off, actual
No.
tip off.
Not Musketeer.
Texas
Thank
Southern
God.
on the 4th, I think, and then I mean the shootout itself is less than 2 months away now. December 14th, my half birthday. Speaking
Right.
of birthdays today, happy birthday.
Thanks, Cap.
But
Hey,
we're on
my
the.
birthday. My birthday's in 2 days, right?
I do know
me
that.
and- me
I
and
already
Fremantle.
have the new iOS update lets you schedule text messages, so I've already scheduled it.
Oh, nice. Sweet.
Yeah, just
What's it say?
I don't even remember,
So
but
I'll know that it's heartfelt.
well, just pay attention to the time.
Yeah,
when
ChatGPT make
you-
it.
Oh,
When
yeah,
you get
okay.
it.
I think I can probably guess it.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday, you big.
Yeah.
right.
But so this isn't a mailbag, but I left it open to not only questions but also statements. So I'll read some of the statements. Paula says she just wanted to say welcome back. Paula's one of our biggest supporters, so we appreciate that.
Yeah, well, just real quick, I was thinking about this the other day because we had talked about at the end of last season how we wanted to kind of try and stay active through the summer. And obviously it's just there's a lot that goes on in the summertime. People are going on vacation and there's just things to do and we weren't able to do that. And I was kind of trying to find like a funny reason why, and I couldn't really think of anything, but then I saw a commercial. Or no, it was on Instagram. It was a guy that opens a door and he just like hears like very faintly Mariah Carey starting to sing. And I feel like that's kind of like us, like we're coming out of hibernation. Xavier basketball's back. I mean, so I think
can't wait,
that's the reason. We've just been in hibernation for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, and
I thought you was gonna say the Ozempic commercial. I swear to God, I thought you was
oh man. Ooh,
We're
forgot
back.
about that
We're
little
back, baby.
little jingle. And then we answered Blob Roll's question about the ceiling and floor for this team. I missed a
Great
huge
account name, by the way.
opportunity to say like you can't have either without a foundation. But
You're
So
in real estate,
then-
so you would know.
yeah, exactly. And we kind of talked about this too. Dad asked, whose handle is Mark Miller. He's, to my knowledge, not any of our dads, certainly not mine. But it says, will Zach be moving to the 5? And if so, who will start at the 4? I mean, to be determined, but I guess Swain, as of now, is probably the projected starter at the 4 with Zach Fremantle at the 5.
I mean,
Who has five?
according to the graphic that I saw right before we got on stream, but I think it'll be interesting. I think if I had to guess right now, they're probably going to start Hughley at the 5, and
Okay.
Fremantle at the 4, just because I don't know what it is, but I just feel like mentality-wise, you walk out onto the court, you got an almost 7-foot dude out there. I think it's just a different feeling. You know what I mean? Especially if he's ready to play. But I'm not saying that Miller's just going to give him the spot just to do it. But I think that if I had to guess, that would be where they go. And then they bring in Swain around like the 4, like maybe right after the first 4-minute war. They bring him in and like kind of change it up and just they have they're going to have probably 3 or 4 plays set up that they want to run in the beginning of the game. Maybe get Hughley the ball on the post, get a quick bucket, figure out what they're going to do, double team wise, how they're going to guard ball screens, all this different stuff. So I think that, in my mind, that would probably be where they go.
Yeah, and
You
they're
got to
trying to
imagine.
figure it out too.
Yeah, you got to imagine Fremantle's getting some minutes at the 5. Like, we talked about
Yeah.
Davion McKnight not getting off the floor. I mean, Kenny, over under 36.5 minutes a game for Fremantle.
100%. Yeah, I think he's gonna. I think 36 is probably right around the number he's gonna be at.
Yeah.
College basketball is so, with how many TV timeouts there are, plus all of the regular timeouts, and the way that the coaches use those timeouts to, that 4-minute war. When you get down to like 4:01, you call timeout. Your guys get to come off the court. You call a full timeout. You sit down for a minute. You go back out on the court. And next dead ball, you're sitting down again. There's a lot of ways to really stretch out rest time in those games. So it's much easier for guys. I mean, you still have to be in shape, obviously, but I think that Fremantle is probably, barring foul trouble, will be playing 35 to 37 minutes a game.
Kenny with the old back in my day. And then eventually, when you get to some point in the season, Drum Hunter's going to play a lot of minutes at the 4 too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that really you get into it. There is a problem when you have too many guys that can play, because there's a lot of guys that are looking for minutes.
We lose Trey, and we're already talking about a minute gap. Like,
right.
This team is so deep, dude.
Yeah.
But I do think, like we've all said, it's rebounding. And just as much as we said behind closed doors, hey, we're talking to Hughley, they've got to be in Fremantle's ear, like, yo, you got to rebound, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you got to bring your lunch, but you can't just be, the guy shooting mid-range shots. Like, we need toughness, dude.
Yeah, and I think that Hunter is going to be a chameleon. I think that he's going to be able to step into the role where he's got to play, later in the season when he comes back, he's got to play 25 or 30 minutes in game, and there might be a game where he plays 10 minutes, but he's just that we've been talking about, the heart and soul of the team, just the guy, the dude that wants to be out there probably more than anybody, maybe other than Fremantle, who's obviously missed a lot of time too. But when you just look at like the devastation of the injuries that he's had over the last 2 years, one of them being life-threatening, I think that every chance that he has to get out on the court, even if he's not actually playing, but just being a part of a winning culture, I think that he's going to eat that shit up.
Had me to eat that shit up.
Yeah. Let's go on to the next one here. And we don't need to answer the question because we kind of just talked about it, but Doc Rock is calling Hughley Big Bad John. So, already mid-season form for Doc Rock there. Kenny, question for you from Caitlin. Catlin. At Muskie's 34, we all know her. How many Pokemon has Kenny caught since last season?
Talking about cards, or are you talking about like
life.
Pokemon Go?
In real life.
In real life, not many. Yeah. But cards.
Who's your favorite Pokemon though? Snorlax.
Snorlax, yeah.
Who's your starter?
Charmander.
All right, thank you.
What are we doing here?
Easy choice.
I mean, the only other one that you can even argue is Squirtle.
Thank you.
Okay. Nobody's starting with Bulbasaur. You got to be out of your mind.
Yeah, you freaking idiot. Get out of here.
Get out of here. That's
cop out.
Gross.
Just trying to be different.
Psycho.
Yeah, exactly. You're just trying to be a contrarian.
Yeah.
Kenny, you're an intellectual. I appreciate you.
Contrarian? Which one is that?
The old Venn diagram of basketball and freaking Pokemon that me and Kenny have is immaculate.
Yeah, it's great.
Man, all these questions just specifically for Kenny, like Carter Blendon, God bless you, but man, like, why does it just have to be Kenny's opinion on this? Like, I'd have one
big
too,
time.
but he's asking what your thoughts are on the Krabby Patty from Wendy's.
I actually went out and got one because you can't, and I mean, in my opinion, you can't not, right? Like it's just, I used to love SpongeBob. I watched it all the time. The Krabby Patty song, me and my sisters to this day still sing that song. I had to go try it, and it wasn't. I would rather have a junior bacon cheeseburger.
It wasn't wet, like.
And make it swim.
It's I mean it's a Dave single with Thousand Island is what I've been told. Plankton's all
Dude,
over it.
Yeah,
but-
and it's
Can we
just
address the fact that all these questions are aimed at Kenny, who was a former Xavier basketball player, and they're all just BS questions? Like, they're not even basketball.
No, I
related.
love it. It's
Krabby
perfect.
Patty. Yeah.
But I did get one.
Um,
Like 2 days, I one of the people in my office got one, and I was like, well, I have to go get one. I forgot about them, and I got it in my head. I had to go out to Wendy's and get one.
Best episode of SpongeBob.
Probably the episode when they make the band underwater, and Patrick is wearing those
Yeah.
really thin sunglasses, and he's like, doo-doom, 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 doo-doom,
Yo, we should have Ian do that song for a halftime show.
Ooh.
with the sunglasses.
Yeah.
That would be fire.
Sweet Victory, I believe it was.
Yeah, sweet victory.
And then
Yeah.
the other
I
ones
think,
are like when he's with the ghost and he's driving the boat and he's just like, you're good, and he's just like smashing his boat into the. That was a good one.
I
And
always
then,
liked the training one. Like Letote.
Yeah. I like the That's Not My Wallet one with Patrick and what's
Yep.
that guy's name? The red guy.
Man Ray.
Man Ray, yeah. He's like,
He's like, this is your ID, right?
drop this.
Yep.
Yep.
I found
that's
it in this
your
wallet.
ID.
Yep.
Makes
This
sense
must
to
be
me.
your. That makes
That's
sense.
My wallet.
Then take
Yeah.
it.
Final question from here before we get to Ian's questions, who sent us 5. Nick Ireland. He actually did ask some basketball questions that we kind of already talked about with Traore.
Solely
but,
for me and Coop.
this one, I like the tail end of this question from Nick is go-to cereal brand. Not right now, but when growing up. What was your favorite cereal?
Frosted Flakes.
Frosted Flakes, that's solid. You just put it in just straight milk, or you add like any, accoutrements like bananas or
Nope.
What was that word you just said?
accoutrements. I don't know. I don't know if I'm.
What are we doing here?
This is the Roll Blob podcast. I don't know if you know
Yeah,
that. or
did
not.
you forget where you are?
Yeah.
No, we are not from French.
Yeah. I'm
All
trying
right,
to think like
this
growing
is like
up.
asking like what body part do you want chopped off the least? Like cereal's just like
Left
oh
arm.
I love it. If you're putting a gun to 9-year-old Jason's head, I am saying who the heck is Jason Cap? Sorry about that, guys. The hell was that?
Jeez, dude.
We're working out the kinks here, fellas.
Yeah.
I am going crunch berries, baby. Crunch
That's a good one.
berries.
That's a good one.
I don't even know that one. I don't think they
Oh.
had that where
Captain
I,
Crunch, dude.
with berries.
Yeah, it was.
Captain
but it
Crunch.
was, yeah, it's Captain Crunch, but they
It's
had
like
the
me
ones
with
that
crunch.
it was just berries.
Oh.
Oops.
Oops,
Oops.
just
I mean,
berries.
how are you gonna say it's oops all berries and you have 500 boxes of it? Get out of here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were lying to us.
it's sick.
Oops, my ass.
Sick
Captain.
marketing scheme.
I will say that answer to that question has changed since I was a kid, and now it's like unequivocally, without a doubt, Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh my
I mean,
god! You ever put that
is
in
the
ice
most
cream?
universal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good shit.
There used to be this place in Fort Wayne called Yummy Bunny, and it was just they like made their own glazed donuts, and they would cut them in half, and put ice cream in it, and then you could get like Captain Crunch and all this different stuff on it, and then they would just put the other part of the donut on top.
Mm.
Whew.
What are we doing?
Man,
it
that
went
gave
out
me
of business because of some
diabetes, like Michelle
nefarious
Obama
activities by the
rule.
owner. But
Can I
it was
ask
very
one
good.
question for Kenny? Actually, I know he already had a lot of questions. So I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, I would sit down and eat like over a box of cereal at one time. Like when my parents would go to the store, I would eat like the whole box, and then I'd be in a lot of trouble. Kenny, have you ever done the same? And how many boxes of cereal have you eaten in like one sitting?
My mom used to buy a box of cereal for me to eat while she was putting the groceries away, so I didn't eat all the food.
And I can only imagine like a cereal like Captain Crunch, like I'd eat like a whole box of it, and like I'm like internally bleeding, like
No,
the roof of my mouth.
Well, yeah,
Like-
and it's
like
like
Kenny's-
and it's like 400 grams of sugar.
Exactly. Like your roof of your mouth must be like just made of freaking
Oh.
granite.
Yeah.
Huh. It's kind of weird. People like there's guys named Graham. I just thought about that. Like there's a guy. Like there's several people out there
Several.
named after like a measurement.
Probably loves Golden Grams.
or
Well, what's
yeah.
what's your cereal, Coop?
Oh, my cereal. As a kid, I liked.
Bran flakes.
Well, my grandparents were really big into cholesterol, so I was like a big Cheerio guy because
Oh,
they're
I thought
like,
you meant like they liked cholesterol.
well, they liked like normal cholesterol,
Oh, okay,
cholesterol some, I guess you'd call it. So
okay.
that was like a big thing, and then they'd chop up bananas to make me like it more. Then I got introduced to Honey Nut Cheerios. I was like, why would anyone eat just regular Cheerios besides like babies?
Babies, yeah.
Baby
Babies are
food.
the only ones.
Kenny, were you ever put in a situation where you had to use a liquid other than milk?
No.
Okay.
What would be that? Well, we don't have to talk about it
See,
right now.
I've had this question before, and there's no real answer. I feel like
Coffee, maybe.
that's I feel like the go-to answer, but like just eat it dry, you weirdo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you're putting water.
Yeah, like I mean, you could have like some fratty flakes, like throw some freaking, little fun stuff in there.
What's that? Fratty flakes?
Yeah, that's what frats do. They'll put like alcohol in their frosted flakes and
Ooh.
call it fratty flakes. Yeah, it sounds disgusting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna just hop into Ian's questions. He says to rank the following. We don't have time for that, but let's just pick our favorite of the following ones: a taco bar, a hot dog bar, a loaded potato bar, the bar exam, a college bar on a Saturday, and a crow bar. I'm going taco bar.
Yeah, I think I'm going taco. But at this point in my life, taco bar. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going potato bar.
Potato
That's not a
bar.
bad call.
A spud bar.
It's
Yeah.
not
It
a
was-
bad call.
What's a hot dog bar? It's you have hot dogs.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Chili,
there's not-
cheese.
I respect it
mustard
though.
ketchup,
Yeah, Skyline. Okay, cheese
Yeah.
Tony's. Okay, I can hear you.
Coney crate. Hey, there's Skyline flavored Grater's ice cream now.
Yeah, I mean it's probably better than Bold Bearcat, but
Yeah.
we're doing too much.
Now, I really like this question. He asked if you have the power to turn into any animal whenever you want.
Which I
What
do.
animal are you choosing? So you can only be this animal, but you can choose to transform into that creature whenever you want.
But
whenever
not
you
forever.
want. No, just like I don't know. You want to be a dolphin for an hour. You're a dolphin for an hour.
I don't think I. Well,
Like Jay Cutler, he was like a dolphin for an hour or so.
Yeah. That's really good too.
I mean, what
I-
are the restrictions here? I mean, are there? I mean, are they? Like, are we
Kenny's
talking?
been on Field of 68 so long. It's like.
No, I'm just
What is
saying.
this
Like,
crap?
are we talking like extinct animals are in play?
I think
Ooh,
I would say
that's a good
probably
question.
probably
It's
no
Ian, so probably not.
probably no extinct ones because you have to be like, yeah.
I think a cool one would be like a killer whale or something that you could like really check out the ocean.
Okay. And you could be on like a Pacific Life commercial.
Yeah, and you can like eat somebody.
Hell yeah.
Which I've always wanted to do.
Hell yeah.
Cap, any initial thoughts on that?
My basic brain was like something that flies, something that swims. And now I'm just like, fuck that. I want to be like an amoeba and just like split into like 7. Just cuz.
That's what those are?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't really pay attention in chemistry or whatever freaking biology, whatever class that was your freshman year or whatever. And then you could like be put under a microscope and I don't know. It could be cool.
What if you transform back while under the microscope? That's
That would, I don't know.
That's a broken microscope there.
Have you seen about these guys that are like shining a laser on their wall and then doing like DMT or whatever it's called and thinking they're in a new universe? That's what would happen. Like someone would think they're having a bad trip.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
That's
just
insane.
I'm just gonna be a fly because like I thought about it and they're saying like, oh, I'd love to be a fly on the wall for that. You hear that so often, like probably once a
Yeah,
month.
it's not a bad one. You could get
And
into
then I would
you
be
could probably get
smirking.
into some pretty high
Oh yeah.
high confidential meetings and all that stuff. I wouldn't be.
Yeah,
bad.
you could join like Cintas and get us like a lot of like inside information.
Well, I was
Yeah,
thinking we
well-
could like fly into like Area 51, something like that.
I just know like
Or that.
my Robin Hood account would be going crazy.
But I feel like if you were a fly though, it would take you a long time to get to Area 51.
Well, I think what you do is
You
drive
would
there,
fly.
or you
Yeah.
drive or fly there, and then you turn into a fly.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, someone's like, "Oh, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall for that," and I'd be smirking. It's like, yeah, they don't
Little
know.
cute. That party meme.
Yeah, yeah, they don't know I was a fly on the wall during that.
Date fly.
Okay. Next question was, if not previously addressed, why is the AP and Ken Palm so high on UC? Do they not know they suck? I guess not. Next question though, if you had to go on America's Got Talent tomorrow, not tonight, tomorrow, what do you do for your act?
This.
This, just the podcast.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not been done by many people, so they would be.
It'd be pioneer.
I think I would probably just like reach really high stuff.
Mm.
People would be like, "Oh, I could never do that without a ladder."
Yeah, I like that. I
mean, honestly, I don't know. I mean, I think like the only like cool skill that I have at this point in my life is like being able to do a Rubik's cube.
yeah.
It's pretty
I
cool.
also heard that I saw an Instagram reel where a guy was saying that people are solving Rubik's cubes quicker and quicker, and soon they'll solve it in like negative time.
Right.
So then time travel.
I saw
yeah.
that. That
How do
seems
you solve a
logical to me.
Rubik's Cube? Yeah. All right. I solved it in -4 seconds.
I don't think I would. I don't know what I would do. I guess I would. I don't
Turn
know.
into a fly.
I think, yeah, right. Turn into a fly. Can you imagine if I turned into a whale right on stage?
No, that would be shocking. They'd have to do for the whole event.
I think Coop would be.
And
I
it's
think
like
Coop would just go
proportional,
straight
like-
up. Coop would just go straight stand up.
Yeah, I would. See,
Yeah.
I've thought about like
You gotta do stand up.
yeah,
You should make chicken, dude.
huh?
Make chicken, bro. You make mean grilled chicken.
Oh, thank you, chicken coop.
Just do
Yeah.
something very basic, like making grilled chicken.
Yeah, it's not just grilled chicken, it's blackened air fried chicken, which comes out grilled. And science can't explain that.
No.
It says fried. Air fried makes grilled.
No.
Makes no sense. But all right, last question and then we'll shut up for the night.
Speak for
Yeah,
yourself.
I'm just happy to be back.
Yeah, true. Which former Xavier basketball player that currently doesn't hold a position like this, which former Xavier basketball player is most likely to have a future at the college coaching level? I really don't even know.
Is it asking like the most ability or actually do it? Because I think that somebody like Justin Dolman would be an incredible college basketball coach, but I don't know that he has a reason to do it.
Yeah, I guess
Other than-
most likely to actually do it. JP Makura.
Yeah.
He-
Kinda hard to
he,
knock out JP.
he reminds me more of like an NBA like skills guy. I don't
Yeah.
know why. But who knows? Maybe.
Kenny Freese.
No. I don't have time for
Charleston.
that. Charleston. Yeah, right.
One call away, baby.
One call away. I mean, honestly, that kind of stuff, if I was ever offered the chance to do it, I don't think that I would turn it down. But that's a huge commitment.
Oh yeah.
So we need to start tweeting off the Roll Blob podcast anytime there's an opening. Kenny Freese will accept the blank job if offered.
if offered. Yeah.
I think
And-
the obvious answer is CJ Weeze Anderson.
Yeah, I could see that. I think it would just
Well,
be...
BJ was a college coach, kind of.
Yeah.
Dante. I think it's going to be Dante Jackson. I'm going Dante Jackson.
I mean, he kind of already
He
is.
already
though.
is.
Yeah, that's kind of why it was an easy answer.
Right.
Oh, okay, fair. Yeah.
But, yeah, so, hey, you know what? I think that for, an October podcast, first one of the year, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah. I mean, we
So,
talked
yeah.
about
I think
everything.
that's about it, boys.
We went from flies to flyers, boys. We covered everything. I think we did a pretty good job with Hughley.
Hughley,
Which I was
nobody
worried
messed that up-
about.
Nobody messed that up once.
Yep.
We're back. It's good to be back, fellas. We went for a while, actually.
Yeah. Good podcast. It's good to be back. Kenny, leave us with 2 words.
Stay blobbing.